Did you like this tip? Then subscribe to the channel now and don't miss out. At 27 years old, he was the kind of man people looked through, not at. Thin arms, slouched shoulders, tired eyes. He blended into the background wherever he went. At work, no one really listened to him. At NL, but the worst part wasn't how people saw him. Every night he would stand in front of the mirror staring at his reflection and feeling nothing but frustration. This isn't who that thought, Han, but wanting to change and knowing how to change were two completely different things. And Carlos had no idea where to start until one ordinary Monday changed everything. He walked into the gym like always, on plan, no intensity, no purpose. He picked up light weights, moved through random exercises, and counted down the minutes until he could leave. That's when someone noticed him. A man in his late 40s, strong, solid, confidential, the kind of presence that filled a room without saying a word. His name was Roberto. He watched Carlos for a few minutes, then finally stepped closer. "You're not here to change, are you?" he said calmly. Carlos froze. I am." Roberto looked at him unimpressed. "Then why are you training like someone who doesn't want results?" Carlos didn't answer, because deep down, he knew it was true. That moment marked the beginning of everything. The next day, Roberto approached him again. "Let me see your bench press." Carlos loaded the same weight he always used, 20 kilograms. He performed his usual set, easy, controlled, comfortable. Roberto shook his head. "That's your problem." Without asking, he added more weight to the bar. "Try 25. Carlos immediately stepped back. "I can't lift that." Roberto looked him dead in the eyes. "You can. Your body just doesn't know it yet." Carlos hesitated. His heart started racing, but something inside him refused to step back. He lay down on the bench, unracked the weight, lowered it slowly, pushed, struggled, shook, and barely got one rep up. Just one. But it changed everything. "That," Roberto said, "is how growth feels." That was the first lesson. Progress doesn't live in comfort. Weeks passed. Carlos kept pushing himself. More weight, more effort, more intensity. But something was wrong. His strength improved, but his body didn't change much. Frustrated, he approached Roberto again. "I'm training hard, but I'm not growing." Roberto didn't even think twice. "What are you eating?" Carlos shrugged. "Just normal food. Sometimes I skip dinner." Roberto almost laughed. "You're trying to build a body without giving it material." Carlos stayed quiet. That hit hard. That same day, everything changed. He started eating more. Real meals, rice, chicken, eggs, potatoes. At first, it felt uncomfortable. He wasn't used to eating that much, but he forced it, day after day, and slowly, things started to shift. His shirts felt tighter. His energy improved. For the first time, his body responded. But Roberto wasn't done correcting him. "You're eating more," he said. "But you're still missing something." Carlos frowned. "What?" "Protein." Carlos thought food was just food. He didn't understand the details, but Roberto made it clear. Muscle is built with protein. Without enough of it, you're wasting your effort. From that moment, Carlos became needy. Eggs in the morning, chicken for lunch, meat at night, every single day. No excuses. And then, it happened. One morning, he looked in the mirror and noticed something new. A small definition in his arm. It wasn't big, but it was real, and that was enough to keep him going. Months later, another problem appeared. Carlos felt exhausted, weak, unmotivated. His progress slowed down. Roberto noticed immediately. "How many hours are you sleeping?" Carlos answered without thinking. 5, maybe less. Roberto shook his head. "You're sabotaging yourself." Carlos frowned. "I'm training and eating right, and destroying your recovery," Roberto interrupted. "That was lesson 4. Growth doesn't happen in the gym. It happens when you rest." Carlos adjusted. He started sleeping earlier, created a routine, protected his nights, and within days, everything improved. More strength, more focus, more results. There was still one major mistake left. Carlos used to train randomly. Machines, isolated movements, no structure. Roberto changed that completely. "Do you want a real body?" he said. "Then train like it matters." He introduced the basics: squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups. At first, Carlos hated it. It was hard, heavy, uncomfortable, but it worked, faster than anything he had done before. His body transformed. Wider back, stronger legs, fuller chest. He was no longer invisible. 3 months later, Carlos faced his biggest test. Not physical, mental. He woke up tired, unmotivated. Some days, he didn't want to train. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to continue. That's when Roberto told him something that stayed forever. Discipline is what you do when you don't feel like doing anything. That changed everything. Carlos stopped depending on motivation. He showed up anyway, tired or not, hungry or not, focused or not. And that's what separated him from everyone else. Over time, something deeper changed. It wasn't just his body anymore. It was his mind. He became calmer, more controlled, more disciplined. He stopped wasting time, stopped going out every night, stopped sabotaging his own progress. He built the structure, and that structure built him. 1 year later, so Carlos walked into the same gym, but this time, everything was different. People noticed him. His posture was strong. His presence was undeniable. He wasn't invisible anymore, not even close. And then, he saw someone. A young man, thin, insecure, lost, exactly like he used to be. Carlos walked up to him. She looked him in the eyes and said, "Do you want to stay like this? Or do you want to change for real?" The cycle had begun again. There was no secret, no shortcut. Carlos didn't change because he got lucky. He changed because he did the basics. Every single day, he trained with progression. He even more than he burned. He hit his protein goals. He slept properly. He focused on what works. He stayed consistently, and he controlled his mind. That was it. And that was enough to change everything.